What's up, y'all? Thank you for tuning in. If you've been watching my videos, welcome back to my channel. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an interesting one on a college campus and kind of deep diving into what's going on in the Cuba situation and why people are protesting and mad. We all support Cuban rights, right? Well, if you do, this would be a good video for you, kind of showing you what's going on. You can hear it from the horse's mouth of why they're protesting and what they're protesting for, so you don't have to rely on the news sources or anything. Um, this video is really interesting for a couple reasons. One is the on a college campus. So the guy here, and he'll explain it a lot better than me. He'll go around asking these college students if they know what the Cuban protests on the campus are about, why they're actually happening, and I think their answers will shock you. Granted that this is some of the most highest education, not literally, but comparably, supposedly, compared to the highest education in the world, we should get a good answer, right? Um, but we'll go through that, and I think this is important for a couple different reasons. One, I mean, this is college, so what are you learning? But two, with everything going on in America right now, one, I mean, gun rights being under attack right now. We have a food shortage, a supply chain crisis. We have a energy crisis. We have gas crisis. I mean, everything right now that's going on is leading up to what these people are protesting about in their countries that have been going on for several decades. So without me talking too much, I don't want to lose you here. Let's get to this video by Campus Reform, America's #1 source for college news. I've been watching Campus Reform for about 2 years, so if you got a chance, check them out. You'll learn something more here than from Netflix. So let's get into this.
I'm Addison Smith with Campus Reform. We're here in Washington, D.C. today. Cuba is revolting against their communist government. Cubans have had enough. But do students know that that's why they're revolting? Have they heard what the media has been trying to convince them of? We're going to find that out. Stay tuned. In Cuba right now, we're seeing the people of Cuba revolt, the first of its kind that we've seen in several decades. Do you know what Cubans are protesting?
I actually have not kept up with the Cuba crisis right now.
No.
I do not know. Do you?
Something about communism. I actually don't know.
Isn't it like they're just unhappy with their government, basically, right?
Yeah, it's issues with like food and water resources and just general mistreatment by their government.
Not a ton about it. I know they're protesting for rights, something like that. Yeah.
I am honestly unsure of like what's really going on.
They're protesting oppressive government. They don't have access to basic necessities like, food, water, money, things like that. How do you think Cuba got to that point?
I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know.
I don't know either.
I don't know. I would say probably related to the government not providing.
The restrictions and all that the government's putting on Cuba just keeps getting tighter and tighter, and the people keep getting poorer and poorer and poorer.
Do you think it could have something to do with the fact that Cuba, for several decades now, has been a communist dictatorship?
I mean, that's most definitely to blame in that situation.
I mean, the U.S. has kind of, had their eyes set on Cuba. I feel like more U.S. interest in the area is kind of dictating the well-being of the people, less, the communist aspect.
Yeah,
He's not wrong. If you look at America and what they're doing right now, like I said, gun rights, energy. I mean, what's accepted for you to view right now, right? They're not really controlling what you view right now, but what's accepted for you to view and the groups that you participate in. I mean, we're not too far away, but who's in control? Hint, hint, it's the left.
you know that at least with communism, the ideal communism and the way it's supposed to be isn't necessarily the way it is.
Yeah, because eventually people realize.
How's it supposed to be? because this has been tested for decades. But go ahead, though.
Is that I'm not saying that America's perfect, but I think a democratic process is more fair.
Probably, yes.
And I don't want to get too far into Democrats and Republicans, but who is in control, and who's trying to take away your free speech? They're trying to take away your gun rights. They're trying to take away your property ownership. Not the Republicans.
Probably a bunch of things. That probably has something to do with it.
Oh, definitely, probably. I don't know a lot about it, but I'm sure everything is contributing to it. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Do you think that socialism or communism could take hold of America, or do you think it's incompatible with what America stands for?
Oh, I could only hope.
No, I think I'd be open to it.
Oh, geez. That's a deep question.
Question.
Is
Kind
it?
of an AOC fan.
So
So AOC, and this is why people who I can only hope that communism could take place in America. Maybe in California, but for the whole America, you can have that, dog. You could take that somewhere else. You can go to Cuba and go see for yourself. But this is not shocking in a time where people like AOC and Bernie Sanders have a huge political party. One, AOC, who wants us to live like New York City. Bernie Sanders, who wants us to live like Watts, but Bernie Sanders, who is a known socialist, I mean, from his college eras, who praises Venezuela for the way that they run their country in a communist socialist state, a country that is so rich in, I mean, energy resources. I mean, they could be one in competition with America, but the way that their government is running it through a socialist state, they have nothing, and people are literally breaking into supermarkets to get food because they're starving. I mean, it's literally a horrible state, but you can hope for it here, my friend. We'll see how you feel at the end of this video. Let's continue.
a shift towards something more along the lines of communism is something you would prefer?
I mean, yeah, I'm not like super read up as I wish.
I can tell.
Communist, a classless, moneyless society has not yet been achieved.
Can you name a country that's implemented communism and it worked out for them?
I mean, implemented is pretty. I mean, tried to implement and then
Usually seems to be how it goes down.
That's because it's never worked ever. If you look back in the 1900s, I mean, Mao Zedong of China, who, I mean, there was 80 million people killed under his reign of the Communist Party. Joseph Stalin, and with the war going on in Ukraine, I'll use them as an example. Joseph Stalin of the USSR, who has starved 5 million Ukrainians in the Holodomor. You can look that word up itself, Holodomor. It is the Ukrainian version of the Holocaust, where Joseph Stalin had literally starved 5 to 6 million Ukrainians just by withholding food from them, and they all starved to death. There isn't a single example of communism ever working, even of the likings of the beginning of communism, which is one of the most scary situations to me: inflation, the one that brought Hitler to power, the controlling of goods distributed were controlled, and Hitler had promised to bring this back. And when he got into power, you know what happened. Let's continue, though.
I would say China's kind of thriving right now.
You think China's doing good?
Yeah.
But what about
Are they? Ask Hong Kong, who not too long ago just became a part of China, meaning they were free it was a Hong Kong before. Now it's a part of China. And ask them people how they've been doing. I mean, they've been protesting for like 5 years straight. Violent protests, massive protests. But go off, shorty.
China's citizens, they don't really have the same rights that we do.
I mean, I don't want to get into the whole Uyghur thing there, but like, I would say in general, yes, they do.
I don't think it's something that will.
It's not even close. Like I said, ask Hong Kong how they're doing right now under the reign of China, as to where they were a free country before. Not even close to the free rights of Americans.
Ever take over just because there's a lot of greed in the U.S. The ideal communism and like the way it's supposed to be isn't necessarily the way it is.
I mean, it's been implemented by what bro said, if I can call him that, in the beginning, but it's never seemed to work out. So what is the idea communism? Is it Bernie Sanders, who praises Venezuela for the way that they're running the country? It's not a place I want to live. Meanwhile, we spoke to Cubans protesting their communist government. Here's what they had to say.
What we're seeing in America among young people is this shift where they're looking at communism favorably, they're looking at socialism favorably, and they're kind of turning their back on America, saying that, you know, this country isn't all that great.
To all those people, all I want to tell them, fly to Cuba, stay there. If you want to feel what communism, socialism, what is it? Because it's too easy to say it here. You think it's easy, you think everything's free, you think it's good, but it's really not. I'm from Cuba. I came when I was 12. And
I could vouch for that. I mean, I'm already spending my tax dollars for them not to be able to distinguish the difference and definition of communism, socialism, and capitalism. I would happily contribute my tax dollars for you to take a trip to Cuba, not a paid off trip, but for you to live in the middle class, in the lower middle class, so you can actually experience what's going on in Cuba, why these people are so upset, and why these people are breaking into supermarkets to get food. You have to experience that. You can't just go to some tourist spot. And I would also let you do it as a college course for the summer, or 1 month, 2 months. It's not bad. But you got to know, especially if you're in some political class or something. You have to know what's actually going on. But let me let him continue, though. Notice I have to keep cutting off because YouTube is weird on the copyright stuff. But that's a different topic for a different day.
I know the difference between Cuba and United States. I love it here.
What's your message to these college students?
Listen to us, guys. Communism sounds beautiful in theory, but it can never be taken to practice. Understand that. Communism kills. They take everything. They teach you, they tell you what to think, what to feel. They even control what music you listen to. Right now in Cuba, after 62 years of communism, kids are getting shot in the streets just for chanting freedom. The problem is not the lack of food or the lack of medicine, it's the lack of freedom. If we have freedom, we will have food and medicine. You can bet on that.
Since the 60s, the people in the colleges, students, and definitely the professors, they have this neo-Marxist type of indoctrination going on. I went through the college system here in the United States, and it's just obvious that that's what's happening.
The American school system and the American democracy allows every student to learn of every system. But in Cuba, you can only learn of one system. It's only one type of knowledge, and that is communism. That is wrong. They have to learn about capitalism. They have to learn about democracy. The idea of capitalism is greater than communism, and I say it to all of the students.
The truth is, capitalism makes, communism takes. And that is a real thing. And these people are telling you who have lived there and experienced it for themselves. But like bro said, it's too easy to say it in America. I mean, where we just have so much privilege here that we don't even realize what's going on in other countries. There's a couple other videos that I want y'all to see. When, this young lady right here. Um, she's gonna go into a deeper perspective. Um, and I think that she goes into it very well. So let's let her go ahead with that.
I'm going to speak in English about what's going on in Cuba because I don't hear a lot of English speakers talking about this and my generation talking about this. Cuba has been under dictatorship for 62 years. So people, for the last 62 years, since 1960s and 1958, around there, people started making homemade boats that we call lanchas and have bringing them to the coast of Florida seeking shelter. Let me explain to you why, because you might be saying, well, they're just immigrants invading because they want to leave their home country. No, it's because us Cubans, we don't complain about anything. It takes a lot for us to complain.
And let me go ahead and say, I would gladly trade an optimistic Cuban escaping communism for one of these college students that are so gladly um uh let me be nice, that are so interested in the likings of communism being implemented on the United States, which is a capitalist society. And I'll dig more into that later. I'll gladly trade them. We'll trade citizenship and everything. You can go there and never look back, and you can come here and never look back. I would. That's a good trade. I would do it any day, 1,000 times a day.
And this, I'm sick and tired of it. So let me tell you what's going on. There's no coffins for dead bodies. If you have a dead family member, they get pronounced dead. They get wrapped in a bed sheet. You get delivered the dead body, and you have to take it home with you. What you do with the body, they don't care. You have to figure it out. If you don't have a car, they don't provide transportation, and you have to take the dead body home walking. There's no drinking water.
So if I could speak on that, and I think that this has a lot to do with the the justice system or the emergency service system. So say, what you see they're trying to do, defund the police. Say you have no police, you have no fire department, you have no ambulance, but you still have all the dangers of society. You have no court of law. So say if you get in a car wreck, well, a bad car wreck that kills you and you're crushed inside of the car, they will do their best to get the vehicle that's crushed to the side of the road, do their best to get you out of there if it's possible. If you don't know what a body looks like in a deadly car wreck, then you're missing on that part. But they'd have to get you out of there and move the car. There's no tow trucks. There's no ambulance. There's no police to file a police report to see, who was in the wrong, drunk driver, hit and run, or anything. There's no fire department to come get you out of the car. You're left there to die. And so is the car. It'll be pulled to the side of the whatever road that is there, and people will continue about their day. Most likely, you'll be on recording, and they'll put you on a Telegram or WhatsApp. Don't ask me how I know. But yeah, there's no justice system. If somebody accuses you of stealing, they cut off your hands with a machete. If you get caught drug trafficking, they chop you up. You don't get to spend 10 years in prison or 20 years in prison. They chop you up alive. If you do something petty, and we're not talking about pedophiles because I could care less what happens to pedophiles and child rapists, but if you do something petty and you don't even get to explain yourself, you could just be accused. Say if I steal something and I blame it on you, you get your hands cut off. I get to walk free. They don't even solder you up. They cut it off with some blade or a big machete and send you about your day bleeding still. It's really bad, and I could talk about that on a different day, but I really want to let her continue. So,
food costs $200 US. A pound of rice costs $200 US. You don't want to know how much a 10-pound one costs.
And you don't really get to decide which brand you get. It's one brand. So,
my favorite part. Canadian dollars is the currency of Cuba right now.
Mm.
If you don't have family here in the United States to give you money, you have to figure it out. You have to figure it out. Because the only way you can get money in Cuba is if you get it sent to you by here. Oh, and here, it takes months to get to Cuba. They shut off their light and water at 7. As soon as the sun goes down, your electricity gets shut. Internet is shut right now worldwide in Cuba. That's why we're not getting any new news. But we have family there. Everybody's out on the streets right now, just the same way they were yesterday. They're out on the streets right now. There's no medication. There's no Advil. There's no antibiotics. There's no butterfly needles. There's no IVs. There's nothing. There's nothing. And now is when people are hearing the screams out of Cuba. I'm sick and tired of this dictatorship. And my whole life, when we visited Cuba, you could not say a word against the government. But now I can go to my country and say, Dia Canel Singao. Fuck the regimen.
I'm gonna have to find some way to bleep that out. But I mean, if you don't get what that young lady is saying, I mean, then I don't want you to give your political opinion on anything before you start to get more information on what's really going on. You get rationed everything, even energy, water. You have to wash yourself by a certain time. You have to get a certain amount of nutrients in. You have to go to the store before a certain time. There's no certain medicines. The Cuban government has their own vaccines, but they won't distribute them out to just anybody. I would gladly pay my tax dollars for you to see that rather than you to be coddled in a safe space in some college campus where you get sad and emotional over learning about gender studies. And for you to learn the difference between capitalism and communism, because it seems like, and I didn't have to go to college to learn this type of stuff. This is stuff that I learned at home or learned on my own time. But you go through this process and you automatically have your own opinions, like these young ladies right here. This is the education system in 15 seconds. And this is one reason why I made this video, because of these little words: capitalism versus communism versus socialism, racism, and all this other stuff that is being implemented in these college campuses, supposed to be the highest education in the world, which is not even close, and I know that for a fact, even on the statistics. These little keywords that people don't know, but they have so much to say about, starting all of these little civil wars in America and just dragging us so much farther apart and farther from reality. It's just really sad. But let me let this 15-second video summarize it up for me, and then we'll go from there.
You guys like Starbucks?
I love Starbucks.
Yeah. It's great.
I do really appreciate it.
Capitalism, Starbucks.
No, capitalism and the corporate world.
Yeah, so don't be like that. Definitely watch PragerU. If you like Starbucks, you like capitalism. If you like Target, McDonald's, Panda Express, whatever your choice, Best Buy, Reebok, Nike, if you like any of these places that you can go to, any mall, any mom and pop's restaurant, any ice cream shop, skateboards, anything. If you like these things in America, you like capitalism. Without capitalism, none of this will ever exist in America. Capitalism makes, well, let me finish. Capitalism makes, socialism takes. Capitalism is the ability for you to, for what Buddy said, there's only one education process in Cuba, and that's Marxism or communism. in America, you have choices. Now they do incentivize certain choices to make you to keep you in a certain category, probably for you to love Starbucks but hate capitalism. But you have a choice to decide whether you're going to be an engineer, you're going to be a teacher or a professor or something. If there's no capitalism, you won't be able to get new innovations for medicine or technology or gameplay or food stores or whatever you're interested in. It will only be determined by the government. But with capitalism in a free market society, you're free to do and say and create whatever you want to create and distribute it so that people can have a better lives. There's no wireless headphones in Cuba. I'm sure there is. You're not going to get them for $15 like you can here in America, and not everybody is going to be able to get them. I'm pretty sure a phone in Cuba would cost you a couple $1,000s. And you know how long it'll take you to get a couple $1,000s in a communist society. Long story short, capitalism makes it's the opportunity for you to start up a business, for you to start a restaurant, or for you to go and see a movie at a theater. Communism takes. It distributes what the government gets. And without capitalism, without them taxes that you pay for your government to decide that these losers get to decide that for some reason they like communism better than capitalism in a capitalist society. And this is after the college education. It's kind of, I mean, it's just a really, really sad thing. And I would just like for them to experience it. I mean, with communism, you get nothing. You're rationed out food, energy. You heard her talking about they cut off your lights and your water at a certain time. You don't get to buy LG TVs and Dell TVs whenever you want. You don't get to have heating and air. You don't get to eat steak and rice steak dinners with carrots every day. They give you what they give you so that you can survive if they want you to survive. But I mean, I could be completely wrong, which I'm not. But if you have a different opinion, feel free to let me know in the comments. If you agree, let me know in the comments. If you made it this far in the video, you gotta give your boy a like, man. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Subscribe to my channel so I can give y'all some more content, man. I've been on here for like almost 30 minutes. So I definitely appreciate y'all for tuning in. Like I said, let me know what you think in the comments, and we'll take it from there, man. So appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. Till next time, I'll see you then. Much love and peace. I'm out.